Hi guys, welcome to WebSensePro. Welcome to another tutorial video. In this video, I'll teach you guys how you can create your own AI chatbot with your own custom knowledge base. Let's suppose you have a website or you want a chatbot or AI assistant which is only responding to your given questions or to your given data. If you want to have an AI assistant built like this, I'll teach you guys step by step in this video on how you can do that on your own without needing to learn how to code step by step with a no code AI agent builder N8N. If you don't know about N8N, N8N is an tool through which you can create AI agent and a lot of AI automations using drag and drop nodes. You don't need to learn how to code. You just need to learn how to add some nodes. I have created a detailed beginner tutorial on N8N. Link will be in the description. But in this video, I'll teach you guys how you can create an AI chatbot with your own custom knowledge base. It is also called RAG Chatbot, which is Retrieval-Augmented Generation. That's a little difficult term to remember, but in easy language, you'll be simply creating an AI chatbot with your own custom knowledge base. Let me show you the demo of that chatbot. So as you can see, that is the N8N workflow, and that is my chatbot. If I click on Open Chatbot, and you can see some of the previous conversation which I had with this chatbot, right? I'm going to click on Clear Execution and then Reset Chat Session. And this chatbot is trained on this document which I have given. So that's the document which I have given. So if I open up that document, you can see that I have given all of the services and all of the stuff which is basically on my website. And it is connected with Google Drive. So whatever data you will upload on this Google Drive, it will automatically be added on the knowledge base of the chatbot. So you can easily, after creating this chatbot, you can easily upload any of the data and it will have that data with the chatbot. It will also create a log of all of the chats in the Google Sheet. So you can see that whatever the message is chatbot is receiving. And I'll also teach you guys how you can embed that on your WordPress website. So that's the WordPress website. And you can see that we have this chatbot. Now, if I do any of the communications, it is going to log that chat in the Google Sheet. There you go. You can see that it's showing the latest message. Now, if I add an irrelevant message, you can see that it is the message where I'm asking that my name is Bilal. Please teach me how to create an ice cream, how to make an ice cream. And when I send this message to the chatbot, it is simply going to respond that my focus is the WebSensePro services, which I have given as the data. I cannot assist with the ice cream recipes, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So it has given the response, which I have mentioned to this chatbot, that if you get any irrelevant message, please respond that you don't have this on your knowledge base. And you can see the log here as well, right? So let's start creating that. So guys, in order to build a chatbot, we will need two different workflows. The first workflow will be to push data to vector database. And I'm going to name it the same. In this workflow, we will basically download the data from this Google Drive and push the data to a vector database. And vector database is basically a knowledge base which will be used in our chatbot to respond better via LLM, right? So let's start doing that. I'm going to first add a drive, Google Drive trigger node. There it is. Click on Google Drive and we will select on changes involving a specific folder. So when someone upload any data to this folder, it will automatically show up here. And you will not see here the Google Drive account. You will need to create a new credential. And you can simply create this new credential by watching the other tutorial which I have. So simply go to my channel and click on the search icon here and search for Connect Google with N8N, or just simply type in Google N8N. It's gonna show up this tutorial where you can learn how to set up Google credentials for N8N. I'm gonna add the link in the description of the N8N playlist. So if you go to N8N playlist, you can see all of the tutorials which I have created for N8N. And for the beginner level tutorial, make sure to check out this video, N8N Full Tutorial 2025, which will teach you how you can build AI agents without using any code. Okay, once you have connected your Google Drive, simply click on that after creating the credentials. And now we will select the folder from our list, and the folder name is N8N Chatbot Tutorial. So let's search for that tutorial. I'm going to search for N8N Chatbot Tutorial. Okay, we found the folder, and we will be watch for file created. So whenever a new file is uploaded, it is going to fetch the data of that file. Let's upload the file, and that is the same file which we will be using for the data. Okay, our file is uploaded. I'm going to click on fetch test event again, and here you can see that we have the data of the file. So our trigger is working. So this workflow is basically going to trigger automatically when someone uploads the file on this Google Drive folder. Perfect. Now let's a next node, which will be again Google Drive. And in this node, we will be downloading a file. So we can download the file to N8N and pass on the data to the vector database, right? And from file list, so everything will be same. You don't need to change anything. Make sure you already have selected your credentials from here. And from list, we will select by ID, and we will basically drag and drop the file ID from here, which is what it is. Here it is. Here is the file ID, has the name of the file, and this is the file ID. Perfect. Let's click on execute step. And here you go. Now you can see that that's the same file name which we have uploaded here. Perfect. Now we will connect Pinecone vector database. And in order to do so, go to pinecone.io, which will give you a free tier in order to create a vector database, right? Click on login. I'm already logged into my Pinecone. And after logging in, you will need to create new index. I already have one created. You will see this create index button if you haven't created before. So I'm going to click on create index. And here I am going to select from configuration text embedding 3 small. Okay, I'm going to name it chatbot tutorial. Okay, and then click on create index. Okay, you can see that our index has been created. Now I am going to connect this vector Pinecone store with my N8N, and for that I'm going to click on API keys, and I'm going to create a new API key, call it N8N chatbot tutorial, actually chatbot tutorial. Copy this and click on create key, and here we have our API key. We will copy this API key into our N8N vector store. So click on this plus sign and search for vector Pinecone vector store. There it is. And we have this add documents to vector store. We will click on that. And from here, you can see that I have already credentials showing up because I've already connected, but I'm going to create a new credentials in order to show you guys. So click on create new credentials and paste the API key from here. So copy this API key and paste it here and click save. Okay, let's close this. And from Pinecone index, let's search for the index which we created. So that's the one which we created. That's the older one which I created before. I'm going to select this one, chatbot tutorial. And I think that's it. And now we will add the embedding API. So click on this plus sign and search for embedding OpenAI. There are other embeddings as well available. Embeddings are from like Google, Gemini, and these other options which we have, but I'm going to use embeddings from OpenAI this time for now. Okay, so you will also need to add in credentials for OpenAI, and let me show you how you can do that. So simply go to platform.openai.com/API keys, and here we will create a new API key. Click on create new secret key. Unfortunately, it is not free, so you will have to create an account and add in billing as well in order to generate the API key and make it workable. So make sure you have the billing enabled before generating the API key. Okay, I'm gonna name it chatbot tutorial. Click on create secret key and then click on copy and then go back and then create new credentials. And here I'm gonna simply paste in my API key. Perfect. Click on save. And here you can see that we have credentials created successfully. Perfect. Make sure to select the same model which you selected on Pinecone when creating your index, right? So click on back to canvas and here we need a document. So click on this plus sign and select default data loader. From default data loader node, make sure to select binary here, right? And in your Pinecone vector store node, make sure to add a namespace. So we will see that on our Pinecone index. I'm going to name it chatbot tutorial. Perfect. And also make sure to add the dimensions. Otherwise, it's going to throw an error. And dimension should be same as what you have here on your index. So if I see here the dimension on my index, so here are my indexes, right? And that's the one which I created. Here you can see the dimension which is showing up. If I click on that, I'm going to simply match the dimension on this node. So I am going to select the 512 as the dimension. Perfect. Okay, now I am going to execute the workflow to push the data to our index here. So let's click on execute workflow. And here you can see 7 item has been uploaded to our index. Now, if I click refresh here, the record count, you can see that we have 7. And if we check out the records, you can see that all of the data has been now uploaded in our chunks. Perfect. So that's all of the data which is in this file here. Perfect. Our first workflow has been completed. Now we will create another workflow, which is an actual chatbot. Again, all of the workflows will be in the YouTube video description, so you don't have to worry about. I'm creating this workflow in order to explain everything, because no matter you import the workflow, if you don't actually understand it, and if any error shows up, you won't be able to debug it. So that's why I have given you a complete demo of this pushing data to a vector database. And now we will create a new workflow for the actual chatbot. So I'm going to name it chatbot tutorial, and we will first add the chatbot node. So let's add the chat node. Here it is, chat trigger, and go back to canvas and click on plus sign, and we will add our AI agent. So in our AI agent, it is going to get the data from the connected chat trigger node. So whatever input is user giving, it is basically going to push that to our AI agent. And from here, we will add our system message. Okay, so in system message, we will add this prompt here. So that's the prompt which I'll use. And it is basically telling that you're a friendly, helpful, professional AI assistant for the WebSensePro knowledge base. And the name is WebSensePro Assistant. So you will find all of that within the workflow attached in the YouTube video description. This thing is really important because we will connect it with the vector store tool. Okay, I'm going to copy this and paste into my workflow. There it is as a system message. Go back to canvas, click on chat model plus sign, and then add in the OpenAI chat model. We have already added an API key, so you should see that account. And we will select GPT 4.1 mini because it is the fastest and I would say most affordable model to have a chatbot. Perfect. Now let's add in the memory. Click on this plus sign here and then click on simple memory. And here we will change the context window length to 20. So it will remember last 20 messages from the chat. Perfect. And now we will add a tool. Click on this plus sign and search for vector question. So here is the tool which we will be adding, which is called vector store question answer tool. Perfect. And the description of data, it is very important. So make sure to add it. I'm going to add return data related to WebSensePro, which is my company name. Perfect. After adding this two, we're going to add the vector, which is our Pinecone vector store. And here we will select our index. So if you remember, we have created this index, which is called chatbot tutorial, and our namespace is also the same name, right? So make sure to select that. I'm going to click on this options here. And here we have these two indexes. I'll choose this one, which we have currently created, the chatbot tutorial, this one here, right? So let's add in that. And from add option, click on this and then click on Pinecone namespace. And here again, I'm going to type in chatbot tutorial, which is our namespace from the index. So that is our namespace. If you want to add the fresh data, you can simply click on these three small dots and then click on delete to delete the current namespace and then rerun the old workflow, the first workflow which we created, and add in the new data to our chatbot. Okay, now go back to canvas and here we will add embedding. So click on this plus sign and we will add embeddings OpenAI, and we will select the same embedding which was in our index. So we have our text is small embedding. Here it is, text embedding 3 small. Make sure to select that, right? Perfect. And now from this plus sign here, we will add our model. Again, we will select OpenAI chat model. Perfect. Our model is selected, Chat GPT 4.1 mini. Perfect. Our AI agent is now ready. Our chatbot is ready. Now we will do some testing and then we will also add the Google Sheet thing. So we can add the log of our chat to this Google Sheet, which we have created. So let's save it. Okay, now we will test our chatbot, which we just created. And for that, we will click on open chat and I'm going to say, hey, how are ya? And we got a response from our chatbot. But as you can see, if I zoom out from here, it didn't really use the vector tool right now. So I'm going to ask a question related to that. Please tell me about services of WebSensePro. And it is throwing an error. And let's see what the error is. Okay, so the error is the vector dimension. And wherever you have this node, an embedding node, make sure to add the dimension which you have on your vector store index. So here we have again the dimension is 512, just like we added it for when we were pushing data to our Pinecone vector database. We need to make sure that our embedding is same dimension as our vector store database. So I'm gonna click on add option and then select dimensions and then make sure that dimension is 512. Perfect. Let's test it again. I'm simply going to say to my chatbot, please tell me about services of WebSensePro. Let's see if we get the proper response now. Perfect. You can see that it has now accessed our Pinecone vector store database. And you can see that the response is related to the doc, which we have in our Google Drive. So if I open up the Google Drive doc, the txt file, let's open that up. And here we have all of the details about the website. And here are our services, right? So that's what the response which we received. And now we will add our Google Sheet so we can have a log of all of the charts happening with our chatbot. And how we can do that? So simply click on this plus sign and search for Google Sheet node. And I'm going to click on append or update row in sheet. And from here, we will search for this document, N8N Chatbot Tutorial, N8N Chatbot. There we go. And from the sheet which we have here is charts. So select that sheet, chats. Perfect. And now we will map our columns as per the data which we have received here. So the timestamp should be now, like drag and drop the now, and the user input should be this. So that's our user input, and the bot response should be this output here. Drag and drop. Perfect. Now let's add a set node after that, because once you add the Google Sheet node, you will need to let the chat agent know that the final response is this. So because we added the Google Sheet, it has changed the variable. So I'm going to add the set node with the variable text, and the value will be from the previous node. So I'm going to click on execute step here. Okay, so we didn't select this column to match on, which should be timestamp, and click on execute step. There we go. We have this data pushed to our Google Sheet. There we go. You can see that we have this data pushed to Google Sheet. Now we will go back to our set node, and for this variable, we will drag and drop. Sorry about that. I'm going to delete that. Drag and drop this bot response here. So make sure this edit field set node is here, because if I do not add that, we will not be able to receive the second response from this chatbot. So this is to memorize the chatbot, what was the first response, and based on that, our chatbot can respond on the second message, right? So click on save, and I'm going to test it again. Click on open chat. Let's reset the chat session. Hey, how are you? And you can see that it has updated on Google Sheet as well. So here we go. Here's our user input, and here's the bot response. And please tell me about services of WebSensePro. There we go. You can see that we have received our services response, and now I am going to ask any relevant question. Please tell me how to make an ice cream. Let's see what's the response which we get from our chatbot, because we just want this to be responding only from our database. So you can see that it says, I looked through our knowledge base but couldn't find any specific information how to make an ice cream. Perfect. So it's just responding based on the data which we have given in our Google Drive. Perfect. Now we have our chatbot ready. Now we need to embed it on our WordPress website, right? And I am going to open up the test install which we have. So that is our test install. And here we already have the chatbot. So you can see that we already have the chatbot. I'm going to replace that with the new one which we have created here. And for that, I'm going to click this inactive to activate the workflow. Okay, our workflow has been now activated. And now the code which you need to add in order to embed the chatbot of the N8N, you will see that here. So if I go to appearance and theme file editor and click on theme functions, so I'm adding this hook. So that's the hook which is called footer hook in WordPress in the theme function file. And you can get this code. So if I Google chat node documentation N8N, here it is. And if I click on, so where is that? Here is the chat widget. So if you click on this, if you go to this URL, I'm going to add this in the YouTube video description as well. You will find all of the documentation and the code of the N8N chat widget. And that's how basically we can add that. So all of the URL and all of the details are mentioned here. You can also change the CSS code based on your requirement. If you want to add in your custom CSS as well, let me know in the comments below if you want me to create a detailed tutorial on this chat node of N8N. I'm gonna create a detailed tutorial on how you can change the styling and all of that kind of stuff. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm just gonna paste this code in the theme function file, and it is already pasted. But all I will do is just change this webhook URL and copy this webhook URL from this chat node here. So if I double click on this chat node and I click on make chat publicly available, you can see that we have this URL. So simply copy this URL and change this URL here, which is the webhook URL. Perfect. And now if I change it to hi, I am a WebSensePro chatbot and click on update file, it is basically going to update the chatbot to be this bot. So this is currently the old chatbot, and if I open that in a new tab, it should show us the new chatbot. There you go. So that is our latest chatbot. Hey, how are ya? It is going to respond. Okay, empty response. Why is that? Let's check it out. We didn't hit the save button after activating that. Okay, so let's test it out again. And here you go. You can see that our chatbot is working. Now, if I change anything on my workflow here, so let's suppose I just create an error by removing this connecting chat model, click on save, our chatbot is basically going to throw us an error. So if I click refresh and open that up, hey, how are ya? It is going to throw us an error in workflow. And if I click on executions, you can see that we have this error showing up, which is telling us that what is the error in our workflow. There you go. You can see that it's telling us that there is no chat model subnode connected. So we will connect it back again. Perfect. Click on save. And that's it. That's it for the tutorial, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. Until next video, have a great day.